Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be running through the full process of what we actually do on the farm and how we farm crickets. So, mixing up the breeding soil, the food, the water, all that jazz. I wanted to call this video like, day in the life of a cricket farmer, but we don't do this every day. We only do this once every 3 days. And as we start to increase in size, we get more crickets, we might be having to pick up how much work we actually do between the two containers. But at the moment, we just do this once every 3 days. So yeah, let's just show you day in the life of a cricket farmer once every 3 days video, or just full process. Let's get into it. The first thing that we do when we come over to the cricket farm is we mix up our breeding soil. I just finished filming a video about this magical resource for cricket farming, so you can go check that out on the channel. It's just called breeding soil. It's pretty important. So while this is soaking up all the water, so you can see there's little bits of dry bits here. Obviously I explained that in the video, but while that's soaking up all the water, we're just going to come in here and we're going to chop up a bunch of oranges that we've got just here. Alright, now that all the oranges have been cut up, what we need to do is head into our adult or our breeding container, and we need to go through and remove all of the breeding soils and food and any like waste products that we see in there. And while we're in there, we also just check the water feeders too to see if there's enough water in there for the crickets. So let's jump into that. Now that we've removed all of the breeding soils and we've also removed the oranges and checked to see if they've got enough water, we can now start setting up the bin up the top. We've got a fresh one just up there. And you would have noticed that not all the oranges have actually been eaten. We just remove it because we don't want any mold in the facility. So we make sure we do it on the same day no matter what's going on, no matter how much they've actually eaten. So yeah, let's set up the new bin. Now that the new tub is set up, those crickets will stay in there for the next 10 days, 10 to 15 days, and they'll be hatched. And next thing you know, we'll be putting food in there and we'll be starting the process again. But now what we do is we head outside and we start mixing up our breeding soil that should be ready to go. Soils are all mixed up. What we're going to do is we need to put the breeding soils in with the adult crickets, and we also need to put some fresh food, so like our grain mix and also our oranges. So let's get into it. So now all the breeding soils have gone in, and as you can see, a couple of crickets are already starting to run down on there. They've got fresh food. They always come out when there's fresh food on there. Clean oranges, and then obviously we've checked all the waters too. So then after we have put everything in this container, we have to head next door, and the old man's just packing up some boxes here for crickets to be shipped on Monday. And then you just have to make sure that everything's checked off on the computer as well. So here, I'll just show you this box just here. We obviously have the date of birth, so when the cricket's been born and when they've started to breed. We then also have when we put the soil in and when we take the soil out, and then the number that the breeding soil went into as well. And then the other thing that we also check is on the notes column here. So if we've sold any crickets out of that bin, we then put a little note there to say how many's gone out, so just to keep track of how many crickets are coming and going. And that's what we do. After we've finished all the books, we then have to come into the other container and we start taking out all of the old breeding trays. So as you can see here, this one's nice and dry, so we can start removing that, and we just go along because, you know, if we go all the way down here, you can see a bunch of pinheads running around in here, but then obviously there's nothing being born up here just yet, but we just start taking out all these old breeding soils slowly so we can reuse the containers and reuse the soil when we can. Alright, that's everything guys for this video. That's everything that we do in 3 days, or once every 3 days. There is a lot more to cricket farming than just that. There is like a lot of cleaning out or processing and packing up the crickets or freezing the crickets, or like whatever people ask for. And yeah, there's probably another couple hours here and there during the week of what you actually have to do, but it's a pretty cruisy step-by-step process that we've just shown today. You can make it as hard as you want cricket farming, or you can make it as easy as you want, and we picked the easiest option, so that's why we only do this once every 3 days. You could do it more than that to try and get as many eggs as you can out as possible out of the crickets, but we don't find it's worth it, so that's the reason why we do it once every 3 days. And then yeah, finally one more thing before we go. If anyone is looking for any cricket fertilizer, this is a whole bunch of cricket feces that we have just sitting around here in storage. So if anyone's in need of some fertilizer, let us know. And yeah, so that's everything guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye.